Hi guys, this is Vinny and I'm back with another YouTube video. Now in this video we're going to discuss Bhagat Singh's questions to the theists, God believers, and few of Bhagat Singh answers to the God believer questions. So let's get started, and before I start there's a quick reminder that this content is taken from an essay Why I Am an Atheist written by Bhagat Singh, and it is an extension of my earlier video Why I Am an Atheist part 1. If you haven't watched the video already, maybe I'll link it somewhere here or down in the description box below. You can please go and check that out. So let's get started. And the first question goes like this. Now, as the God believers say that God is the supreme being, He has created everyone, He has created this world, and He has the ultimate power and energy. But Bhagat Singh asks, why at the first place did he create a world which is not less than a living hell, where everything is misery and bitter, not each person stays in peace? So why did God actually create a world and men when he had the choice not to create such a miserable world? For this question, most of the God believers say that it is his law, but Bhagat Singh counter questioned it, saying if it is his law, if the God or the supreme being is also governed by something which is above him, he is also bound with laws, then how can he himself be a supreme power when he is following something else above than him? Now, if the God believers say that suffering is for God's pleasure, then Bhagat Singh asks them that one Genghis Khan also killed a very few thousands of people for his pleasure, but we hate his very name because of such heinous acts. So how can we justify the all-powerful God for killing many people every day when he has the power not to do so? If the theists say that it is to punish the evildoer and reward the sufferer, then Bhagat Singh asks them that how can you justify a person who is first inflicting injuries on your body and then coming in applying an ointment on them? You can't, right? I mean, he just means to say that how can you justify a person who has a power to stop you from committing a crime, and when the crime happens, he is only causing you suffering? How can you justify such a thing? As a pointer, Bhagat Singh also mentions that millions of people are dying of hunger, palaces are being built on the foundation of human bones, and rich nations are throwing their surplus produce into the sea instead of distributing them to needy and deprived. So is the God seeing all this and allowing all this to happen when he has the power not to do so? He also mentions in his article that Hindus say whosoever is undergoing suffering in this birth might have done something evil or might be a sinner in the previous birth. Now he mentions that it is just to say that whosoever is oppressing the other people in this life might have done something godly in the previous birth, and maybe this is the reason they are given the power to oppress other people. Now, according to this theory, if it was true, and if a person to his fate is born into a low caste, poor, or is not allowed to go to school, and if the fate of that person is to be hated by the society, what if the person, due to his ignorance or poverty, hardens his heart towards the society and supposedly commits a crime? Now, who will take the responsibility? Will God take the responsibility, or the person who commits the crime, or the learned people of the society? Answering to his own question, Bhagat Singh writes that all these theories were coined by the privileged class of the society to justify their power and riches they have robbed with the help of such theories. Now, the dirty alliance between the religious preachers and the processors of power are the reasons for the origin of such theories. And for the questions like if God didn't create this world, then who did? Bhagat Singh answered that it is a phenomenon of nature concerning with biology and natural history. He also suggested Darwin's work on origin of species and Sohan Swami's common sense for a satisfactory answer. And one more question that Bhagat Singh writes is, if God has the power to do anything, then why didn't he install humanistic values into the British, and why didn't he propagate the British to leave India willingly? Now, answering to his own question, he says that British are here in India not because God wanted them to be, but because we lack the courage to oppose them. And the last question, that is, if God didn't really exist, then why do so many people believe in God? Now for this question, Bhagat Singh answered it in this way. The idea of God is a theological philosophy, and it attributes to the cleverness of the exploiter to design it in a such a way. Any religion, faith, or theological philosophies as such has helped and supported the exploiting institutions in a long run. Now, Bhagat Singh asks the reader to observe that any person who is going against the king, who is rebelling to the king, has ultimately become a sinner in every religion. So he says that it is a well-designed philosophy through which no person or no common man can become a danger to the power of the king or to the power of privileged. So I hope you like this video. If you did like it, please like, share and subscribe to Vinny.